The Crucible by Arthur Miller is set in Salem, Massachusetts in the year of 1692, during the time of the Salem witch trials. My monologue is based in Act 4 of The Crucible, inside a cold, dim jail cell where John Proctor is confined, waiting his execution for witchcraft. After months of hysteria tearing the town apart, Proctor now finds himself alone, reflecting on the corruption and dishonesty that have plagued the once faithful town of Salem. Proctor is a man of integrity, guilt, and moral strength. Integrity in his refusal to falsely confess to witchcraft, guilt in his adulterous affair with Abigail Williams, which shattered his marriage and self-respect, and moral strength in his ultimate decision to die with his honesty and faith intact rather than live a lie. In this performance, I'll express Proctor's character through shifts of tone and movement as he progresses through the different emotions he experiences. His voice alters from guilt and sorrow to anger and disdain, and eventually ends with disappointment and acceptance, as Proctor is transformed from a flawed man burdened by sin to one who sees the truth clearly. His moral dilemma is finally dissolved whether to live life by a lie or die with his soul intact, as he gains the courage to choose honesty over survival.
Dear Lord, forgive me, for I have sinned. The weight of my wrongdoings is tormenting me. I have broken the vow of my marriage and tainted the trust of the woman who has stood by me in all things. During her sickness, I gave myself to temptation, and now I see the damage I have brought upon Elizabeth's heart. God, give me the strength to be an honest man again in this dark age. Grant me the courage and integrity to walk in truth, not in shame, and let my deeds mend what my words cannot. Forgive me, Father, though I be undeserving, and teach me to love once again with a clean heart, so that Elizabeth may one day look upon me with mercy. Amen. O Elizabeth, in these last days I cannot live without begging your forgiveness. I have wronged you more than any man should to his wife. I have damaged my name and given my soul and heart to sin when I strayed from you. You gave me your trust, your faith, and your heart, and I failed you. In my selfishness and disloyalty, I fell into temptation when you were at your weakest. But I was the one that was weak, not being by your side and straining our marriage for my own selfish longings. Elizabeth, please forgive me for letting this child hold power over me. My morals slipped away, and I became a husk of the person I once was. I deeply apologize for the shame and suffering I brought upon you and our family. Tell the children their father loved them, though I failed to you as a husband. Damn you, Abigail! May you rot in hell along with all those other pathetic girls that follow you. You blackened my name, accused my wife of witchery, and spilled the innocent blood of this town. Were the sins we committed together not enough for you? You walk free, while my dear wife and all the other innocent people you condemned rot in cells for your own selfish desires. And the court, they pledge judge, jury, and executioner, acting if they are the right hand of God, claiming to be God's justice with no faith involved. They're all pathetic. Danforth, Halford, Paris, they speak of the truth while they're drowning in their own lies. They hang the innocent and weak and call it righteousness. They imprison the virtuous while the wicked run free. They say they serve the one above, but all they serve is their own pride. They lack the humility and morality to be right and just against the people of this town. Would God and send his men to the gallows on the word of a child? Would he tighten the rope that perishes his loyal followers? No, the court is built upon fear, not faith. God is dead, the devil runs free within Salem, though through lies and corruption, not as of witchcraft. The town of Salem. Once we were an honest town of neighbours who would help each other at the call of a voice. Now we are nothing but a pack of wolves tearing each other apart and saying it's the will of God. The wicked is praised while the good is condemned. Lies flood the waters of this town until all have consumed it and taken it as gospel. Corruption plagues this town through the twisted voices of children, while cowards wear the cross and cry out justice while they trample it beneath the dirt of the ground. I am ashamed that I ever bowed my head to such madness. I will be a part of it no longer. Through life and death, I will not taint my soul no longer. Let Salem be damned for its lies. I'll stand for it no longer.
In this monologue, features of construction are authentically used to represent John Proctor as a deeply guilt-ridden man striving for redemption from his sins, particularly those that have fractured his relationship with his wife Elizabeth. Set in Salem, Massachusetts in 1692, within the confinement of a dark, empty cell, the setting symbolizes not only Proctor's physical imprisonment, but also his eternal moral struggle and emotional separation from Elizabeth. The narrative structure follows his emotional progression from guilt and confession to anger, and finally resolution, mirroring his journey from sin to redemption. This shift reflects Arthur Miller's portrayal of Proctor as a man torn between personal shame, moral integrity, and his yearning to restore the love and trust of his wife. Furthermore, The Crucible mirrors the structure and essence of a Greek tragedy, centering on a noble yet flawed protagonist whose downfall is brought about by his own human weakness and moral choices. John Proctor's hamartia, his pride and guilt over his adultery, leads to his suffering and ultimate demise. Elizabeth functions as both his moral mirror and the embodiment of his conscience, reminding him of the purity he has lost and the redemption he seeks. His struggle between truth and of survival evokes catharsis, allowing the audience to experience pity and fear as they witness his journey towards moral clarity. Like the tragic heroes of classical Greek theatre, Proctor's fall restores a sense of justice and moral order, illustrating that his spiritual redemption transcends his physical death. Language devices and tone reinforce Proctor's authenticity as a 17th century Puritan farmer while revealing his fractured relationship with Elizabeth. Biblical dictation such as "Dear Lord, forgive me for I have sinned, and grant me the courage and integrity to walk in truth" not only captures Salem's religious fervor, but also conveys his deep remorse for betraying Elizabeth's trust. His plea, "so that Elizabeth may one day look upon me with mercy," directly exposes the emotional heart of his conflict, the desire for forgiveness from both God and his wife. The tone shifts from solemn confession to furious outbursts in "Damn you, Abigail, may you rot in hell," illustrating his emotional volatility and his recognition that Abigail's deceit destroyed his marriage and his wife's honor. The repetition of "forgive me and I have wronged you" expresses Proctor's moral torment, while exclamatory language internalizes the guilt that has consumed both his marriage and his soul. Literary devices, such as metaphor and biblical allusion, deepen Proctor's voice and his connection to Elizabeth. The metaphor, a pack of wolves tearing each other apart, symbolizes the breakdown of community and, by extension, the disintegration of trust within his own household. His exclamation, "God is dead," parallels the spiritual death he feels after betraying Elizabeth's faith in him, and his moral awakening serves as an act of atonement. This allusion to divine absence underscores not only his despair at the corruption in Salem, but also his recognition that truth and love, embodied by Elizabeth, are the only remains of purity left in this world. Finally, dramatic conventions of tone, movement, and staging visually externalize his inner turmoil and his relationship with Elizabeth. Proctor's pacing, collapse, and moments of stillness represent his shift in emotional states, from guilt and reflection to anger and eventual acceptance. The darkness of the self symbolizes both his moral isolation and his emotional distance between him and Elizabeth. The resolution, "Let Salem be damned for its lies, I will stand for it no longer," signifies his reclaiming of integrity and his spiritual reunion with Elizabeth through truth and moral courage, even as death separates them physically. In conclusion, for its careful use of narrative structure, language devices, and dramatic performance techniques, the monologue presents an authentic voice for John Proctor while deepening the emotional resonance of his relationship with Elizabeth. By embodying the conventions of a Greek tragedy, The Crucible and this monologue reveal Proctor's transformation from guilt to moral redemption, showing that his final act of truth not only restores his integrity, but also reconciles his fractured bond with Elizabeth, achieving the ultimate catharsis of love and forgiveness.